All right. So here we are. It's chasing the narrative. It's the part where things get weird. And when I say things get weird, each time we have a guest, I'm going to pick a topic that I arbitrarily want to talk to that guest about. Today, that topic that I'm arbitrarily deciding on is MMA. Anthony has done a lot of MMA. He's kicked people, he's punched people, he's taught other people how to kick and punch. I want to know more about this. So, first of all, why? This is the real question that sits with me. Why would you pick a hobby where someone punches you in the face? Why would you do that?
So, as a smaller person, it felt prudent to be able to defend myself with talent instead of size, because I never had size.
Okay.
But what I had was moxie. So when I was in the 7th grade,
and you were scrappy. We established you were scrappy. Now we've established you have moxie as well.
Moxie.
You're like an undersized 1950s gangster. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So so I got in my first fist fight when I was in the 7th grade. The guy was much bigger than me, and I just hit him until he stopped trying to hit me. And that strategy worked really well. But I realized very quickly that if he didn't give up as fast as he did, I was in trouble. So I was like, all right, let's look into this a little bit. Let's Google some stuff. Let's see how people get from I get beat up to I don't get beat up.
Okay.
I realized at that moment that was a thing that could just happen. We were just playing football, and all of a sudden I was in a fight. So that's not okay. You need to be prepared for stuff like that.
I'm sorry, there was Google when you were in the 7th grade. Is that what we just established?
Yes, there was Google when I was in the 7th grade. I was in the 7th.
Anthony, I'm going to need just a moment. All right, I'm okay now. Let's continue on.
Yeah, I was in the I was
old people 13? Like me need a moment to reset occasionally.
That's fair. Yeah. So I was 13 in the 7th grade, so that was 2007.
Okay. I was 27. All right, moving on.
That is 1 year younger than I am now.
I don't know. It was not that many years ago that I was this like 40K rookie that like Frontline was talking about all the time. And now they're like, no, you're old and a veteran. I'm like, I don't know when that happened.
Dude, you put me in shell shock when I ended up with my own podcast and not on The Next Generation. I was like, what's happening? That's me. I'm the next generation. What do you mean?
No, you're not. You've already done it. You've
already
done the thing.
Not so much.
Nobody wants to hear about your journey. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay, so the original interest in martial arts was because you figured you were going to get in a lot of fights. Now,
yeah, pretty much.
I've not been in very many fights, so this is very different for me. I have this friend I grew up with named Gary, and I got in a fist fight with Gary in 2nd grade. Yep. And my mom's work was actually next door to the school. And she actually saw me from the parking lot, and I got yelled at for my one fight only while at school away from my parents. So this is not a thing I could understand, but I was big, right?
So yeah, that helps.
But I was like nerdy and picked on the whole time, and I never fought. So why were you getting in so many fights? Was there an anger issue here?
No, I have a strong sense of like injustice. Like if I feel like someone's trying to like do me,
they might need to get punched in the face.
Yeah, they might, or they might. Like if someone, to put it succinctly, if someone fucks around, they might need to find out. That's basically what led me to martial arts. So
okay, now I want to be clear. I have certainly thought someone needed to be punched in the face before.
Yeah,
I have no problem understanding the desire to hit someone.
Yeah, I very rarely will throw the first. I think probably
sometimes, Anthony, people suck.
Yeah. That's super true. Sometimes, look, Colin, sometimes people need a perspective change. That perspective they might need to see is looking up at the ceiling and being like, what just happened? And that's what it is. So I do talk a lot of shit.
Okay.
This may come as a shock to you, or it might not. I've spent a bunch of time around you now, so probably not. It's almost always playful, and I'm 99% of the time I'm just joking. But some people don't perceive it that way, and they get all in their ego, and then it's go time. And then sometimes when it's go time, you want to be ready for that. So I think a part of this also is that like we had very different reactions to our first fight. I went home and told my mom that I got into a fight, and she asked me if I won. And then because I said yes, I didn't get in trouble. So we had really different.
That's a parenting decision.
Yeah,
that is
like one though,
of
right?
all the parenting decisions you make. That is one.
Yeah, there's a lot of those with my mom. I was being nice in part one because I assume it's going to be a little more.
There's
public.
A couple ways to do that. That's one of them.
Yeah, she made a decision, and that's the one she went with.
Yeah.
We were allowed to fight as long as we didn't start it, and we won. Those were our two criteria. I don't know. That was what we got. So
it's kind of how America feels about wars, Anthony.
Yeah, don't start it. Win. History decides the rest.
It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Everybody likes it. If we don't start it, nobody dies, and we win. Those are the criteria we have for wars.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal.
Okay, so mixed martial arts. So you're doing martial arts, and at some point you decide that you want to fight other people competitively.
Yes, that was basically.
How old are you at this point?
14. It was like right away.
Immediately you want to compete at punching people.
Oh yeah. I threw the first punch and hit a pad and was like, yep, we're gonna do that forever now. So I was like right away. I started when I signed up. I was like, how long do I have to wait until I can compete? Like, how long does it take?
like is later okay? Is there anybody who I could fight tonight?
Yeah, anyone available right now.
Okay. I don't understand this at all, but I'm here for it. So are you just at this time? Are you just this little tiny like ball of aggression?
Yeah. So I'm like 5'3". I don't get much larger, but I do get marginally larger. And yeah, I'm not like a ball of aggression. I was just really interested in like, kind of how I am now. Like I'll play anyone in 40K and I'll tell them that I'm going to beat them before we start, but like, it's not always true. As we saw at Charity Hammer, it's often not true. I've lost a whole bunch of games when I was there, but I'm about it. Like I'll try. Yeah. So yeah, it was mostly just that, like, I was really interested in like the way combat worked, and I liked the different, like, I really liked the individual expression of combat because everyone fights so differently. Even if you would all train at the same gym and learn from the same people, the way their information gets from them to you and the way you express it when fighting others and the way that changes depending on who you're fighting is super interesting to me. And it always was. And I would like, I loved to fight, but it wasn't like I was like, I love hitting you. It was like, dude, let's see what happens. Hitting people's pretty cool, but like, it's not like the why,
Yeah. What? Okay. So immediately 14-year-old Anthony wants to fight other people.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How did that go?
So 14-year-old Anthony didn't get the fight on because they were like, you got to train for a while first. I was like, all right, fine. But 15-year-old Anthony, 15-year-old Anthony got a little bit screwed on his first fight. Okay. So 15-year-old Anthony gets told he has a fight on 1 week's notice, which for those of you outside the realm of Fightland is not how you're supposed to do that. You're supposed
to have. How long are you supposed to know?
Like 3 months, 4 months. You have some time to train, cut weight, get down to your weight class, learn some razzle-dazzle shit from the coaches that now know you have a fight. None of that happened. I got 5 days. So I had to cut from 145 to 135 in 5 days. So Tiny Anthony would just eat an apple for lunch and a sandwich for dinner. I would train twice a day, and we did it. We cut our 10 pounds. Awesome. So one of the parts of Muay Thai, because that's what I started with. I fought in Muay Thai a bunch before I had an MMA fight. That I was really good at was the clinch. I was really good at fighting like tied up, basically, where I was like grabbing the other person. And there's basically 2 rule sets in kickboxing. There's Muay Thai rules and there's K1 kickboxing rules. In K1, you don't get to clinch. Now, Tiny Anthony is like, this is fine. I weighed in. My opponent weighed in. I'm 15. He's 16. No big deal. It's going to be fine. Muay Thai fight. I'll clinch him. We'll be fine. Except, like, 3 hours before go time, like an hour after weigh-ins, they switch my fight and my buddy's fight. So my friend, a little bit older, he's like 17, 18, same weight class, no big deal. He's a weight class up, so close. So I'm gonna fight his opponent, and he's gonna fight mine. My buddy at the time was 2-0. Basically, what happened is my gym owner, who was in the nicest way possible, a big jerk, decided that he wanted his fighter that already had a winning record to continue that, and his fighter, who was the new kid, to just go to the wolves on this one. We'll see how it goes. So instead of fighting a 16-year-old with no fights as a 15-year-old, I fought a 23-year-old with 4 fights and no losses. So now, for additional context, Tiny Anthony was ready to fight in headgear with shin guards and gloves without elbows. So far, so good. What Anthony got was no headgear and almost no shin guards. And I was like, wait, this is my first fight. We should probably wear shin guards because hitting shins on shins hurts a lot. And I don't want to do that. Pretty reasonable. So we get in the ring. I am beyond nervous now because they changed the rules on me as well. It's a K1 fight. I can't do the part that I'm good at anymore. So I have to just punch and kick this man who is
giant compared to you.
Yeah, functionally a million years older than me in puberty years because I'm 15 and he's 22. This is not okay anymore.
No, it's not good.
Yeah. So fight starts. We touch gloves, and I throw basically like a tricky kick, and I kick him right in his face. If I was not wearing shin guards, I knock him all the way unconscious. However, Tiny Anthony wanted to wear shin guards, so we're wearing shin guards. So I kick him in the face. I open a big cut on his eye. I'm like, yeah. He wobbles and almost goes down. So now Tiny Anthony, much like adult Anthony, smells blood and goes for it. But he gets back up because he's functionally twice my age, and I just kicked him in the head and he's going to be okay. And then he proceeds to punch me because I have my hands down because I am ready to swing both. I don't even know what thoughts were going through my head.
You're just going to get him.
Yeah, just get him.
Just going to get him.
Yeah, like Orc Wah was all that my mind could process.
Go!
Yeah, both hands not near my face. So he punches me while using my forward momentum square in my face and breaks my nose. Just my nose is flat to my face after this point. And then basically I proceed to get beat up for 3 rounds. So I finish the fight. I have lost pretty handily because I fought for 3 rounds with a broken nose at 15. Didn't quit, but did not win.
Maybe should have quit, but didn't quit.
It wasn't in the vocab at that point. The shame was too strong.
There will be no quitting.
Yeah, it was finish or die. Those are the options I had. So we get to the end of the fight. And I don't really remember a ton because I was definitely rather concussed. I can send you a picture at some point if you want to attach it to this money. If not, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the EMT walks over, and the EMT is a guy from the gym that we know. He's my friend Scotty's dad. And he goes, "Oh man, it looks like your nose is really," and then he reaches up and resets it and goes, "Broken, but not anymore." And then he just walks away like he didn't just do that to me. And that was honestly much more painful than the fight. So yeah, that's the story of Anthony's first fight and how I got screwed by a promoter.
That's fantastic. Do you remember that? Where you might be? I don't know how long ago this was because I'm an old man. But there was an NFL commercial where there was a guy, like a normal guy, sitting on a table, and then a football player next to him, and the football player's fingers, all that stuff, and they're like, "Okay, this is just going to hurt a little bit," and they pop it back into place, and the normal guy just collapses.
Yep,
he just passes out, and they're like, "You wouldn't make it in pro football." I promise you that I would not make it in MMA. I am not even a little bit interested. As soon as somebody punches me in the face, I'm mad that they punched me in the face, and I just want to go home. If I go home, they can't punch me in the face anymore. So that seems like the move. Is what I'm saying.
Once you're in there, though, you feel like if you don't punch them back, they're just going to keep hitting you, and it doesn't stop. So you have to be like, all right, well, we're doing this now, so here we go.
I don't know, Anthony. I don't know.
Yeah, it's different strokes, right?
So do you miss hitting people?
What'd you say?
Do you miss hitting people?
Sometimes. There's definitely a level of aggression that I definitely don't get out, mostly because I'm not working out now. So that's you could resolve a lot of that if I just did some push-ups, but I'm not because I'm busy doing stuff like this. Mm-hmm. So I miss being in shape. I'm definitely I carry weight pretty well, so it's mostly fine visually, but I'm definitely quite overweight relative to my height right now. And that's a thing I would like to resolve in the future when I figure out the content creator, coach, 40K player, work,
IT person,
boyfriend, life thing better. Once we have that down more, we'll add working out back. But for now, we're trying to just keep it together.
That's great. Okay, so that's do you still pay attention to MMA?
Oh yeah, just a ton. It's funny because the gym I trained out of right before I moved to Florida was Sarah Longo's MMA. And they've had like a bunch of people that like I used to like. I've literally like held pads for these people, like trained with them before, like become like one of the, like Aljamain Sterling is a UFC champion now. Like Justin Montalvo just got into like Bellator, which is like, you know, one of the other very large organizations. So it's like really cool to see these people do super well that I've like met in person. So yeah, I follow the scene a bunch still. It's like I love that sport a ton. You know, fighters are criminally underpaid. That's the only downside, but it's a good sport to follow.
Yeah, basically my entire MMA knowledge of the UFC is that Ronda Rousey is a badass.
Yep.
Dana White is a guy with a lot of money who makes a bunch of decisions that people don't like because they complain about it all the time.
That's true.
And I also know, maybe I only know two things. Might be that I only know two things. That might be the two things that I know. What's that?
Two's pretty good. Two is twice as many as one, so that's not so bad.
Can I name anybody else? There's the guy with the collapse with the messed up ear that's in the Expendables movies. He's an MMA. He's a UFC fighter.
Randy Couture.
Yes, that's right. He's a UFC fighter. I enjoy. He's very good in those Expendables movies.
He does a good job in those. Yeah, he did great acting, which is strange because most MMA fighters do not transition to that well.
No, the first stuff that Ronda Rousey's in, you're just talking. Like that's
it's not
you're
good.
They've told you these are the words you need to say, and these are the words that you're saying.
And you walked up and said them. Great work.
Yeah, like you look really great beating people up, and that's really what we're looking for.
And we'll stop there. There's actually an MMA fighter in Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh, who's that?
George St. Pierre. He's the French guy on the boat.
Okay, I don't remember who that is, but
yeah,
fair enough.
Like in the opening scene that like Captain America fights a French dude. And like,
that's an MMA guy.
Yeah, and that guy is an MMA fighter. That's why that fight scene is real pretty from like a technical perspective.
If you ever watch any of the stuff about making the Expendables, the stunt guys all complain about how Randy Couture had no idea how to pull a punch. And so he just beats the crap out of the stunt guys the whole time. And there's like a point where they're like, okay, you need to pick up that 250-pound man and body slam him. We're going to hook the wire harness up. And he's like, no, I'll just body slam him. That's fine. I'm just going to pick that guy up. He doesn't need cables. He'll be fine. Don't put him down on his head. Okay. All right, fine. I won't put him down on his head. Like,
you got it.
All right. Okay. So I'm super amused by the tiny ball of aggression that you are. It makes me very happy. I think maybe your nickname, so that we've come full circle now. Anthony's too long. Vanella's too long. I don't know why these are too long. I've just decided. So maybe we just go with, maybe it's like Venom and Carnage. Maybe we just go with Violence.
Yeah, we could do that. Violence.
Maybe your nickname is just Violence. Like you don't even go by Anthony anymore. People are just like, and I have Violence on the show today. And then when you come on our show, we could be like, Violence, we'd like to talk about your childhood. You'd be like, okay. I think that's great.
Yeah, that works. I'm happy with it.
Okay, Anthony, thanks so much for joining us on Chasing the Narrative and being our first guest ever. Was it fun?
Woo! Yeah, I had a blast. This was awesome.
Okay, great. You can find Anthony at bestoftabletop.com. That website's not actually up yet, so I don't know why I'm pitching it. But you can find us on our YouTube. Please subscribe to check out all of our wonderful shows. And we'll be back soon enough with more Chasing the Narrative. Thanks, everybody. I'm Colin. Bye now.